when it comes to reporters, Hillary Clinton's campaign taking a page out of rawhide. Her team literally penning the media in a moving, roped-off area as she marched in a July 4th parade in New Hampshire. Mark Thiessen is a columnist with The Washington Post, a Fox News contributor, and a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Patty Ann.
So in March, Hillary had this to say about cultivating a better relationship with the media.
I am all about new beginnings. A new grandchild, another new hairstyle, a new email account. Why not a new relationship with the press?
All right, so Mark, how's that working out for her?
Yeah, I've heard of campaigns hurting the press. I've never actually seen it done literally. I mean, what's next? Is she going to have them walking down the street with a rope like a bunch of preschoolers?
Yeah,
and the word.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
sorry,
people literally saying she's herding them like cattle. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. And the worst part of this is the press went along with it. I mean, this is as much an embarrassment for the media as it is for Hillary Clinton. I mean, what kind of self-respecting journalist, let's say 20-year-old campaign volunteer, corral him like a sheep? If you're going to act like a sheep, you deserve to be corralled like a sheep. Here's an idea. It was an Independence Day parade. It's a free country. Duck the rope and go ask her a question.
So they should have revolted, you think? It brings up that O word again, optics.
Yeah.
What are the optics here?
Well, the optics are terrible. I mean, the optics are so up until now, everybody knows that Hillary Clinton has been avoiding the press. The Washington Post keeps a tracker at actually how many minutes that she's not been answered a question from the press. As of this interview right now, it's 25,180 minutes, 17 days since she's asked a question from reporters. So Americans know that, but they didn't have a visual, an optic of it. Now, all of a sudden, they have this visual that, they say a picture tells 1,000 words. They have a visual of her avoiding the press by literally being roped off like a bunch of cattle.
You mentioned, though, that it might not just be the press that she's worried about swarming her because she won't answer their questions. Is it the press or is it ordinary people who were also yelling out important questions about things like emails?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not just the reporters that they want to avoid. They don't want the press to overhear her talking to ordinary Americans. I mean, Hillary Clinton, her campaign, she's a control freak. They literally vet all the people. When you see her in a coffee shop talking to ordinary Americans, those aren't real ordinary Americans. They're all people who've been handpicked by her campaign. But when you go to a parade like this, you can't handpick everybody who shows up at the parade. You're going to inevitably meet an ordinary American who's going to ask you about the missing emails that you didn't submit to the federal government. And they actually literally used the rope to keep the press out of earshot so they could not hear her interactions with ordinary Americans. So This is the campaign she's a control freak.
And what we're seeing in the wake of this roping thing is criticism definitely on both sides of the aisle. A lot of Democrats coming out, really criticizing her badly for this. Is she damaged now? I mean, her numbers have been dropping.
Her numbers have been dropping, and maybe that's one of the things they didn't want to hear somebody asking her, like, why has your lead against Bernie Sanders shrunk from 32 points to 8 points in New Hampshire? I mean, she is in trouble. The one thing she's got going for her is there really isn't a lot of competition, unlike the Republican side where we have, 14, 15, 16 candidates in the race. She's been it. So now the point is that Bernie Sanders in New Hampshire is gaining on her. He's closed the gap, and so they don't want to see. They want people asking her about why she's losing a campaign to Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, we will have to see what happens. All right, Mark Thiessen, thank you so much.